Hey, welcome back to Historic Investments. We just recently got back from the Ohio Gun Collectors Show, and after an awful lot of horse trading and of course a few purchases, we got a lot of really interesting loot. I was so excited. I was just playing with a few things, so I put them out on the table. We've got a lot more things in the tub, so let's take a look at these items one at a time. So great, let's just do a very quick overview on some of these guns. So for example, this is one of the last of the production Lugers. They were made up through 1942. This is a 1941 date. BYF is the code for Mauser. Of course, all of you guys probably like the Black Widows with the black plastic grips. This has got the walnut checkered grips, but still a very, very nice gun. It's all matching. It's got one of the late extruded type magazines, so you can see, which is an FXO magazine, and it has got a holster which is nicely matched to the chamber date of the pistol. So it's a 1941 dated holster. So even more interesting than this is this very late war CZ27. It's got a phosphate finish, and a very, very small number of these were made with these extended barrels used for a suppressor. Of course, everybody now likes to call them silencers, but the guns in this serial range should be phosphate finished, and maybe not always, but almost all of them have got the late safety button release, which is just a stamped part, not a machine part. The barrels are acceptance marked, but not numbered, but we'll get to that later. In fact, we might even do a separate video on this silencer or suppressor barrel CZ27. Maybe the pièce de résistance to this group was just an absolutely wonderful Black Army Colt 1911. Not 1911A1, but a 1911. So you can see the condition of this gun is just absolutely exquisite. But anyway, we've got a lot to go, so let's keep going here. This is another phosphate finished CZ27. It's a late war gun, very similar to the earlier one, but you can see this has got a machined button release. Okay, it's not the stamped sheet metal, but otherwise a very similar phosphate major parts, strawed small parts. Now let's move on. We've got a pair of Nambus. Both of these are large trigger guard. They were both made by the Torimatsu Arsenal. We've got a first series gun, and you got to look at these proof marks or acceptance marks, and we've got a second series gun. That's the marking right here. You can tell, of course, which years and months they were made. This is 18, so you add that to 1925. So this is a 1943 dated gun or year gun and made in June. And this one is 19, so this is a 1944 made gun in February. Yeah, I think these lanyard cords look really cool, but you know, there are a lot of reproductions out there. Both of these are reproduction lanyard cords. The thickness isn't quite right, and the leather looks much too fresh. If you guys think they're original, more power to you. I'm going to be calling them out as reproductions. These guns usually came in later holsters. The holster that came with this particular gun has got a solid leather tab, and it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you can pick it up with a video, but it's got some ownership markings that are stenciled both on the lid and I guess just in case inside the lid. It's got a reproduction cleaning rod and a spare firing pin, but I think the most interesting part of the guns, if you're watching this, you're kind of interested in the guns, not the holster. So let's just continue our overview. Here is a Nazi era FN 1922. It's all matching, and it's got the the usual Waffenamts, as you might expect. What's really interesting, it has an original dropping holster with spare magazine, and the dropping holster is also marked for the gun and the caliber, as is absolutely correct as these pistols were originally issued. Here, this is a canvas, a rubberized canvas holster for one of the very late Type 14 Nambus. It's got a later type of tab. You saw the earlier one has a solid tab. This has kind of got a spring-loaded tab with some of the leather having just kind of rotted off. One of the things that's really interesting about these holsters is that they do not do well over time. So in this case, this holster is shrunken up so badly that I can't even get the gun in it. I mean, I could use probably one of those hot air dryers or, blowers to kind of soften the rubberizing and kind of move it apart. But as soon as you do that, it's not going to stay flexible, but it may assume a broader form. But right now, this gun Nambu will not fit in the holster. Let's move on to Sweden here. We've got a Swedish military holster. We've got a complete rig. So we've got the black leather holster with, some of the brass fittings here. We've got a pair of spare magazines. We've got one of these little takedown screwdriver tools. Let me see if I can quickly get it out here. There we go. And we've got a cleaning rod. Really a very, very nice ensemble. I'm going to put this thing back. You can see the gun is matching here in terms of the barrel extension and the frame. This one is import marked. I mean, I was told when I got the gun, the fellow was very proud. He said it's not import marked. Well, apparently he didn't look very well. It's import marked here, as most of them are, but it's very lightly import marked. And, the straps on this gun are spectacular. I mean, it's just a really, really nice Swedish Model 40. And let's moving along here. We've got a Steyr Hahn 1911. It's the model 1911. These were issued to the Chilean military contract, and the issue date was 1912. Here's the Chilean crest, and these guns are also serial numbered in at least three places on the exterior. Here's the slide number. Here's the frame number, and then here is the magazine, kind of the magazine base. It's an integral magazine, but it also shares a matching serial number. It looks really cool against this holster, which is very similar to an original holster, but this holster is a reproduction. Color isn't quite right. The fittings are much too bright, but it sure is a nice looking holster. And I think as long as you guys know what you're looking at when it comes time to buy this stuff, I mean, that's what some of these educational videos are all about. It gives you kind of a nice overview of things, and it should also give you a greater insight when adding something to your collection.